makinotanga. Kia ora.
I call the Honourable Member Materia Turai. Tēnā koe.
Tēnā koe, Mr Speaker. E tūpoko tō tātou pirina. Me nā meme hui mai, tēnā koutou katoa. Huri atu ki te whakanuia te wiki o te reo Māori. Tēnā koutou katoa. And tēnā koutou katoa Ngati Makino who are present in the chamber today. Kia ora. I am pleased to speak on behalf of the Greens and our support for this legislation. I want to acknowledge my colleague Denise Roche, who made our second reading speech on this bill, a very articulate description that she set out in that speech of the history of the confiscation, of the wars, of the loss to Ngati Makino over many years. She outlined a great deal of the history, the land confiscation from 1866, the loss of 80-odd thousand hectares of land by the 1900s. So at a very early stage, most of the land was taken, and how only, some 100 years later, very, very little of that land was left. I'll only take a short call today because I know that there is a great deal of celebration still to go for this legislation. But I want to echo the words both of Denise Roche in her second reading speech, but also Louisa Wall today in her kōrero just earlier, about the generosity of iwi and hapu who accept these settlements, and the generosity today of Ngati Makino and their acceptance of this settlement. It is 20 years in the making. That is a lifetime for many, and there are many lives lost during that process. The Greens have always opposed the treaty settlement process. We have always been prepared to stand up in this House and talk about the failures of the process, the weaknesses of the process, and what that means for iwi and hapu who are trying their best to engage with it. We have a huge amount of respect for those who are prepared to engage with it because it is so difficult. It is unfair and it is ill-conceived in our view. The Crown sets the terms, the Crown makes the rules, the Crown creates the delays that lead to many, many years between a claim being made and a settlement being finalised. In our view, a durable and just settlement between two sovereign parties requires an equitable engagement between those parties. It doesn't happen in this treaty settlement process. An equitable engagement between sovereign parties means that the parties agree together on the process that they undertake, that the parties agree to negotiate terms with an open mind. And we know from settlement after settlement after settlement that that is not the case in treaty settlements. The Crown comes to the table with a deal, and it is very rare for the terms of that deal to be significantly changed in the negotiations. It is not treated as an open mind with a view to the needs of the other sovereign party in this engagement. And we also know that the resolution of settlements and that treaty settlements kilda often lead to further injustices. And that should not be part of the process either. That is a weakness of the treaty settlement process. We do not apologise for making that explicit in this House when we discuss settlements. Someone needs to be clear and straight about that. If we are to improve the process and to make sure and move towards durable settlements, just settlements, where there is equitable engagement, we must be prepared to debate the weaknesses and the failings. But that also does, as has been said by Louisa and Denise and no doubt others, that we recognise the generosity of iwi who are prepared to engage at all, and the hard work and the money and the time that it takes for them to do that. They are prepared to put themselves on the line in order to get some progress, not only for themselves and for their whānau and for their kids and their mokos, but actually for the rest of the country as well. I think one of the big changes that could be made to the settlement process, that is a responsibility of the Crown, not of the iwi involved, is that these stories are made much more explicit, as has been discussed, to the rest of the New Zealand population. They just don't know about the history. And it is it is a block to genuine progress for iwi and Crown relationships and for our community relationships that New Zealanders don't know the full history, the pain, the hurt, the damage, the loss, the deaths that arose out of the colonisation process that has now led to the need for the treaty settlement process. I have to say, disappointed in the Minister's rather personal attacks today. I think that those attacks belittle him, given that I understand he is committed to this process. But those attacks do belittle him, and I'm disappointed by that. I agree with the Minister that the Crown must now build a relationship with Ngati Makino based on trust and commitment. I agree with him that it will be in the actions of the Crown, or the actions of the government more explicitly, that will count in the building of that relationship with Ngati Makino. But thus far, we hear pretty words, and we do not see the actions that would give those words genuine dignity, or that relationship genuine dignity. We look forward to seeing how those words will be put into action. I want finally, sir, to pay my respects to all of those of Ngati Makino who have been involved in any way in the settlement process who have passed on, and our deep sorrow that the delays have meant that that has happened, and those who worked for the settlement in the past have not been able to see it come to fruition today. I want to congratulate all of those who have worked and continue to work not only on the settlement but on the best means to use the resources that have been returned, however meagre, to use those resources for the benefit of their whānau and hapu and their iwi. It is no small feat to try to use these small resources to resolve more than 100 years of pain, loss and degradation. And even that alone, that attempt is being made and that the skills are there to do that work, is just extraordinary. The Māori community is extraordinary. Ngati Makino is extraordinary. I want to pay them homage for all the work that they have done. Kia ora koutou.
I call the Honourable